politics, and power. Let me now posit this proviso on the overall discussions of political cultures. You would remember we discussed political cultures as being value-driven and part of the overall national identity. Well, political culture in that sense is learned behaviors, and they are normally shaped by families and the wider community. But in certain cases, political cultures are surrendered to the whims and fancies of high-profile and charismatic leaders or actors or players. And we'll examine a few cases to allow me to make that point. Benito Mussolini was a determined and charismatic political player who almost single-handedly changed Italy's political culture. Well, he pretty much single-handedly changed it. This former politician and leader of the Republican Fascist Party took over the reins of power in 1922. Within just 2 decades, he had so eroded Italy's political culture that now, 7 decades after his rule, the repercussions of his actions are still physically and psychologically playing on the minds of Italy's citizens and also on those of the world citizens at large. Of course, Mussolini was subsequently expelled from the party in 1954, and he was killed by his own people that very same year. The same year that Hitler, Mussolini's protege, took his own life, before his people could find him, of course. But both Hitler and Mussolini had so radically eroded the political culture of the respective countries that it had an enormous impact on the world. Their actions gave us World War II. Adolf Hitler, whom I just mentioned, was a shy and ordinary German citizen who became the leader of the Nazi Party and Chancellor of Germany between 1933 and 1945. With millions unemployed, the Great Depression in Germany provided a political opportunity for Hitler. So the leader used his position as Chancellor to form a de facto legal dictatorship. And having achieved full control over the legislative and executive chambers of government, Hitler and his political allies embarked on a systematic suppression of the remaining political opposition. And later, Hitler Nazi's party declared that there was only one official political party in Germany, and his political opponents were punished into poverty and were even killed. Lenin also changed Russia's political culture in the 1920s, and his brand of politics is aptly embraced by Putin at present, who incidentally believes that he runs a legitimate democracy because he is elected through fair and free elections. Democracy, as you will learn later, is a beautiful theory, but in practice, it can be a fallacy. Venezuela is another example where one political actor, through his charismatic approach to leadership, was able to change the entire nation's political culture, to the point that now, after his mortal demise, the nation of Venezuela is in uproar. People are starving, there is looting, there is fighting, and there is a need for political transformation. Generally, the effects of radical political changes do not readily shock the people, as the majority are coerced into a system with fancy political footworks and artificial propping up of states by those flamboyant political actors whose destructive leadership are sometimes only manifested posthumously. Those radical changes in political culture leave behind devastation, poverty, and immense human suffering. It also leaves ideological viewpoints of politics, and sometimes those viewpoints are never erased. It almost always works out that way, lest the world finds itself in similar predicaments in this contemporary era of human development. Politics and power.